The Ice King's arrival has completely flipped the Fortnite island on its head. We've got brand new map changes and some seriously heavy-hitting weapons. The heroes have united, but do they actually stand a chance against the most powerful villain in Fortnite history? But the real kicker is Voyager's sinister plan to trigger an apocalypse and bring back the imagined order. As always, we're kicking things off with the map changes, most of which Epic actually teased ahead of the new season. The first thing that hits you when you jump out of the battle bus, which by the way every looper can drive now, is the Ice King's castle, which is, without a doubt, the biggest area and the one hiding the most secrets inside. The castle is guarded by the Ice King and the Lady Windfrost, who act as bosses. But besides the bosses, there's a ton of interesting stuff, like the characters he has frozen. If you go inside, you'll see 6 ice columns, and 4 of them have characters frozen inside. There were actually people in the other 2 as well, but one is where the foundation was, and we saw him melt in the trailer. The other completely shattered column is where Summer Peely used to be. Right now, Captain America, the Prisoner, and Aurelia are still frozen. They will probably be released one by one over the next few weeks because they could all be a big deal. Starting with Captain America, who already hit the item shop, so I don't think he'll thaw out for that, but he could be important to the story later. As for Aurelia, Midas tied to her always makes a comeback in Season 2. Since Jules is already in the Battle Pass, I'm not sure how they'll do it, but I bet we'll get some new content from him in one of the seasonal updates. Finally, there's the Prisoner, who was the Ice King's first big rival, and was actually responsible for kicking off Season 8 in OG Fortnite. So it makes sense for him to thaw out before March 31st. Or else I can't see how we'd get to that 8th season. There are also the bones of the Devourer behind the throne, which really confuses me about how they're going to explain having that event in OG mode this year. From lots of hair to no hair, let's go check out the Foundation, who is at the new Sanctuary location, which serves as the Seven's base of operations for their mission to take down the villains. When you visit, you can not only chat with him as an NPC, but you can also hire him, just like Hope, who is close by. I haven't unlocked all of them yet, but there are up to 14 characters spread around the island. Honestly, there isn't much else to see in this area. The most important thing is that everything has been revamped with the Seven's aesthetic, which we first saw back in Chapter 3. Next up are the last 2 locations that popped up thanks to the Zero Point. We'll start with Squibble Shores, where you can actually see a fragment of the Zero Point. This has messed with the water's properties, so you don't take fall damage there. This zone is, of course, a shout out to the new character Squibbly, who is also there as a boss in his fearsome version. Be careful, because he'll attack you with squids that explode. This location also has a strange secret. You can fish up a key card from a shiny circle that gets you into a vault, although it's really more of a secret chest. Right in the middle of the island is the final big new location called Dark Dominion. This used to be Lethal Labs, and it hasn't changed all that much. However, it also has a boss who is, you guessed it, the Dark Voyager. If you beat him, you can grab his mythical shotgun. This weapon is also available in all colors and can be found in chests. What's special about it is that it only holds 1 shell, but it reloads itself. Another new weapon this season is the Foundation's rifle, which we saw earlier as a reward. There's a non-mythic version too, which means it doesn't shoot rifts but works like a sniper, even though the bullets are a little different from the regular ones. If you're backing the Ice King's crew, the first thing you get to share with everyone, including the rival team, are the Ice King's gauntlets. Then there's the new Boost Pizza. The third reward is a rift anomaly that pops up like any other. The fourth weapon is an upgraded harpoon. The last item for this first month is the Ice King's Vault Access Card. The biggest improvement this season has to be the mobility items. We've got the Overdrive Grenade, which is a lot like the Impulse Grenade, but when you land, you get buffs like not getting tired when you sprint. The other movement item is the Zipline Deployer, which, like the name says, basically creates a zipline. And once you jump off, you can open your glider. As a mobility item, I think it's an amazing addition. I'm not going over for the rest of the loot because it's mostly older weapons. You also have to factor in the new exotic weapons, which are basically the ones from the Lawless season, but with the Seven's design. You can get these by doing the rivalries and buying them from vending machines with the right amount of cash. Going back to the rivalries, which is obviously the coolest part of the season, there's also a new anomaly called the Rivalry Battle, where every player in the match will have one active at the same time. The second new one is the Storm Focus, which changes the storm shape to a new one. And this season, we have new storm shapes, like the Crown and the Lighthouse. The last one is the one I talked about earlier, the drones. And now, for the most controversial part, no doubt, the Battle Pass and the new price tags. Because most people are, understandably, complaining about the V-Bucks hike. But I would tell you not to skip playing the season or buying the pass if you already have the V-Bucks. Because the only way they'll reverse this price increase is if they see no one spends their real money on the game starting today. The way I see it, not playing this game, which is a fave for a ton of us, is seriously punishing ourselves more than Epic Games. Trust me, the only thing Epic is going to watch over these first few weeks is whether they can make more money with this change. So show them it's a bad idea. Honestly, if they see the same number of players, but the number of people who are putting in cash is halved or less, I think that's the only way they'll freak out and reverse the change. Because at the end of the day, all they care about is money. For those of you who are already have the V-Bucks and are going to buy the Battle Pass or anything else, I appreciate you more than ever if you use the creator code. Oh, and both this Battle Pass and the season itself end on June 5th. But Fortnite doesn't want you to wait that long to buy the pass. So if you get it before March 27th, they'll hook you up with this exclusive Foundation style. Starting today, you can also do quests on your phone to get this skin for free. I still need to talk about all the leaked stuff like skins and collaborations, but that video will next week. But if you want to stay in the loop, check out the storyline breakdown of Season 2. Honestly, if you're not keeping up with the Fortnite lore lately, you are heavily missing out. We are finally getting those massive events and payoffs we've been waiting literal years for. And no, this season's storyline isn't just about some alien orb bouncing around the map. Basically, the narrative right now is entirely focused on the Order, trying to track down the rest of the Seven, with an assist from this alternate version of the Visitor. That's exactly why they can't go head-to-head just yet. They are seriously lacking the manpower. Meanwhile, the Voyager has been hopping through different key realities, snatching up fragments of the 0 point. It definitely looks like he's trying to rebuild it, but he's doing it completely his own way. After freezing the entire island, the Ice King somehow made it over to the Golden Coast, which is the island from the regular Battle Royale mode. This is huge because it officially connects both game modes in a way that is way more concrete than anything we've seen before. Speaking of which, we got this icy biome with castles and all that, which obviously belongs to the Ice King. We see him strolling down a hallway full of incredibly powerful living beings, to put it lightly. It's still up in the air if this is the OG Ice King we've always known, or an alternate version. He's rocking a different skin and look, but it could easily just be the same guy with a fresh coat of paint. Either way, his overall mission seems identical. If you remember, the Ice King was never actually a villain in the lore. The Marvel comics completely cleared his name. His whole vibe was just freezing any artifact or living thing from any reality that posed a massive threat or held too much power. He was never loyal to the Imagined Order or the Seven, he just operated on his own terms. But this specific version of the Ice King might actually be evil by nature. If he ends up teaming up with the Voyager, it's either because he's entering his villain era, or maybe this new version of the Seven are actually the bad guys this time around. There are a ton of possibilities on the table. Next up, we catch a glimpse of the Prisoner, specifically his original version. That tracks, considering they used to be allies from different kingdoms, even though the Prisoner was always obsessed with tweaking realities using universal artifacts. The last time we saw the OG Prisoner was also in the Marvel comics, where he ended up frozen underwater again. But if he's here now, how is the OG mode storyline going to work? Next season, Season 8, is incredibly important because he's the one who summons the volcano and wakes up the Devourer. My bet is that at some point next season, the Prisoner is going to find a way back to the OG island to make all of that happen. We also have Aurelia in the mix, who is related to Marigold, or basically her undead version. Normally I'd think they just dropped that skin in for the aesthetic, but with how much lore Fortnite is packing into this chapter, Aurelia might actually be super relevant next season. She's essentially a guardian against Tomb Raiders. That makes total sense, Because if the Ice King is out here freezing artifacts and beings, he'd definitely have to cross paths with the Guardian protecting them. There's also another Captain America skin, though I don't think there's insanely deep lore there. It's probably just flexing a new look for a character whose whole brand is being frozen for ages and waking up as a man out of time. And finally, after all this waiting, we get the Foundation. He's back in different armor, rocking a silver suit and a leather vest. The big question is whether this is our Foundation or an alternate version from the new 7. Since the alternate visitor has a totally different helmet design, and the Foundation still has his classic visor, it's probably our guy. Those visor symbols are basically their ancestral branding. It's how you verify the original. But why is he frozen? If you look super closely, he's frozen mid-fight. He was definitely throwing down with someone, maybe even the Ice King himself. They used to see eye to eye on the 0 point, so it's wild that they'd be rivals now. I'm guessing that if the Ice King is evil now, it's the fallout from the 7 failing to free the 0 point from the imagined order, which obviously brought a wave of terrible consequences. Since Season 2 is titled Showdown, we are clearly getting a massive clash between factions. I personally think the Ice King will step up as a third faction, meaning the core season is going to be a massive 3-way war. The 7 versus the Dark Voyager versus the Ice King. Every Season 2 in Fortnite history has been heavy on faction wars, and they are famous for being straight up peak in terms of gameplay and lore. This time will definitely be no exception. I am genuinely loving how fast and consistent the story pacing is right now. Back in the day, we would have waited multiple seasons just to see a spaceship land, but now it feels fast-paced without feeling rushed at all. Taking all this into account, here is my main plot prediction. The Dark Voyager's constant reality hopping and hoarding of 0 point fragments has seriously ticked off the rulers of those realities. Now, they've tracked him all the way to Golden Coast to take back what he stole. Everyone wants a piece of that power. So we are looking at all the factions on the island, fighting a massive free-for-all brawl for those fragments. All of this chaos is happening right as it collides with OG Mode's Season 8, and the entire thing is going to climax with the Devourer waking up. I'll throw out a few more rapid-fire predictions before we wrap up. I think the Ice King is finally getting voice lines, and the link between Battle Royale and OG is going to be permanent and game-changing. We probably won't see all of the 7 return until Season 3, and Marvel will absolutely shoehorn some lore in using that new Steve Rogers skin. Midas is almost guaranteed to show up since he practically lives for Season 2's. On the flip side, I highly doubt the Imagined Order will make an appearance right now since they didn't even show up until Chapter 2 Season 5 anyway. They are definitely saving them for later. Epic is taking the story in such a massive direction by bringing back these high-potential characters. If you vibe with this content, definitely show some love by using the super powerful code PUNKED in the Fortnite item shop. I'll leave you full trailer's breakdown in case you missed it. This trailer is all about the lore, featuring the Cubehead who's currently hunting for the 0 point shards. That's why we're seeing this villain crew square off against the 7, who are slowly but surely making their way back to the island. The trailer kicks off with a bang inside the Voyager's ship. We've seen it from the outside all season, but this is the first time we've gotten a peek at what's inside. It could even be a new location for Season 2, which would be totally sick. As we already know, Dark Voyager has been working with the Last Reality since the start of the season. Just like back in Chapter 2 with the Cube Queen, they've got an army of soldiers, the Elite Intruders, who actually dropped as skins ages ago. These guys are basically small Kevin-style cubes wearing humanoid armor, which we know from the second style of those skins. A small detail that's easy to miss is that they're gold, which suggests they're higher rank than the Chapter 2 versions, and will probably be a new style that gets added at the start of Season 2, though I hope they aren't a separate skin. I'm also betting there'll be rival bots that pop up to defend their boss, the Dark Voyager, and hopefully they'll all be chilling inside the ship. Their weapons actually look like 2 new Season 2 guns, and while they seem similar, one has a strap and a llama sticker, and the other doesn't. Now that we've checked out the army, the million-dollar question is why Fishstick has so much knowledge. The Voyager has him kidnapped, trying to squeeze out the location of the 0 point shard. My first thought was that Fishstick was like the Peely from Chapter 5, super knowledgeable, and that's why they snatched him. But the most obvious answer is that this Fishstick is originally from Reality 7021. which is where a 0-point shard ended up. While the Voyager searches for this reality on his screen, we can see a ton of interesting details, like how the fish shares DNA with regular fish and that they all come from the same reality. On the fragment screen, we see 3 of 7. That last number is probably the total number of shards scattered across the universe, and this one is either the 3rd they've counted or the 3rd one they're missing. As for the lighthouse blueprint, anyone paying attention to the story has already clocked that it's the same one we saw on the loading screen, which means we still have 2 more spots to travel to. One of them is the ice castle, which they showed in first trailer, and while the fragment wasn't in that video, the screen confirms it's there. The other spot looks like a desert or something. The last screen shows the Slurp sprites who arrived in Fortnite Chapter 6. In the next scene, the ship jumps to the new reality where the new Battle Pass skin is fishing. This is where the ship starts to suck up everything below it, which is Coral Castle. This location first appeared in Chapter 2 Season 3, but it looks like it's native to this world, and its inhabitants are all aquatic skins we've already seen in the game. Plus, there are several disguised Joneses who have somehow learned to breathe underwater. The trailer wraps up with the new skin landing on the ship, and the Voyager orders his soldiers to grab the squid, while he gets mad at Fishstick for ratting out where they were. That's how the new character gets to our reality and island, but theoretically they'll be trapped by the Voyager. So, we'll have to see how they explain the breakout in the upcoming videos. I'll give you my theory right now. One of those soldiers is actually Hope, or another good guy who's currently undercover in the Dark Voyager's army. That would explain why one SMG has a llama sticker and the other doesn't. It makes more sense than them being 2 different guns, though I wouldn't rule that out. I'm also fairly sure both the new skin and Fishstick will be NPCs next season, since the video ends with a message that the Fishstick will return. Oh, and everyone already knew this was a Marvel reference, but with this second scene, literally copying what they did in the first trailer, and what Marvel does with every trailer, it's 100% confirmed that they're pulling a Doomsday. I've already shared my theory that it would be awesome if we saw Marvel characters pop up over the next few months, leading to a collaboration in December when the movie comes out, maybe even another season or a mini-event with Marvel. The biggest question after seeing this trailer is whether Coral Castle will make it to the island. Everything suggested that the 3 zones with a fragment would be the new locations for Season 2. But now, after seeing this trailer, I've got my doubts because the area just seems to get drained of water, and that's it. Still, I figure the 3 zones will somehow be generated based on the image. So if I had to put money on it, I'd say yes, Coral Castle is coming next season.